Step block.
You're saying that?
Okay, two inputs.
Yeah. I forgot what
See if I can take a five
Huh?
passage.
I forgot what word it was, I think.
It's fine because some people obviously.
That's a bit of a video.
Oh, second. I think I remember this.
What's his work session about? Surely he's not like relevant.
Would we need to put like the donuts?
Oh, yeah.
Like the
that-
tubing through that?
Yeah, you know by hands, some of them.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's what-
so looks like this is. Why did I go
Maybe they just don't want to go through that. Just don't know. Maybe go. Yeah, the turnaround is so far.
Oh no, we did.
Yeah.
It's the ones without the email. So it's just a bigger one.
Okay, so we have to wait to have the pad unlocked and then start the lecture. Good morning, everybody. The second midterm has been posted, announced anyway. The average, good morning, yeah, it seems the pad is locked.
Is it just yeah? Is it not?
Okay, so the average of the class is not good for whatever reason. There is still hope to make of it with better performance in the final. But anyway, you should know your situation with the midterm, where you are and what you have to do. So definitely final would be cumulative, and you have this opportunity to make up anyway. But it's more difficult because everything is dense. All the material would be there, but it's up to you. Anyway, if you have any comments for me, if you have any question, concern, anything, just let me know in here in the class or privately after that. In my room, you can come and see me if you have any specific direction or question about the lecture material, everything. Just let me know. And as I said from the beginning, this course is a more theoretical course. We don't have any direct application of the course. This is the second year course. It's more engineering science course. I try to make the things clearer with some examples or applications, or the outcome of what we are talking and we learning here. But anyway, it needs practice. It needs practice like a math course. You have to go over some sample questions to understand. Any question? Yes.
If the average maintains this sort of low state throughout both like the midterms and the final, I assume there will be some sort of scale at the end of the course, or?
Yeah, there should be, but you shouldn't count
Sure.
on that, right?
I know.
So you have to
I'm
know
just
your.
asking.
Yeah, of course. I try to have I wouldn't say all of the marks should be high,
Yeah.
but if I see that the how to explain, I don't want to give the mark to people who didn't try anyway by hand and donate marks, let's say, in this way. It's not professional. It's not, I think, correct, fair, right? For those of people who are working really hard attending the class at 8:30 in the morning. So it's not fair, right? But anyway, I try my best to have kind of help the students who are trying to do their best, and you will see at the end of the day. Yes.
What's the lowest midterm average you've seen so far?
Similar to be honest, your average, I mean your class average is one of the lowest. I wouldn't say it's the lowest one. And to be honest with you, one of the reasons I see in this cohort is that this is I call them, maybe the name is not something reflecting what I'm saying, but cohort of COVID generation. And COVID generation means you learn most of the material online, and this is not what we have to do in engineering, right? Engineering area is a bit different from computer science area or some other area that can be done everything via Zoom meeting, via computer and so on, right? So you have to learn based on what I've seen in your paper. I'm reflecting what I've seen in your paper. Based on what I can see in the paper, I see some graphs without x-axis name, tag and label, y-axis name, tag, label, and say, okay, everything is in my mind, and just that at the end of the day, I have this one. Nothing is in there, right? Everything is in your mind, in your brain. What does that mean? You are an engineer. You want to prepare something, design something, and then give it to your client. So everything should be written in the paper and given to your client. It's not meaningful to have everything in your mind. Right? You have to write. You have to learn to write. Right? I think this is not because of you personally. It is because of the situation happened during a couple of past years, and step by step you have to return to the normal situation. This is what I see. This is, I think, one effect that we have from this generation, and it's gonna take time, right? But you have to try. You have to try to get back to normal situation, I think. And I am here again. I am here to help you, right? At any point, and if you can remember, several times I said, don't read the solutions of the question and say, okay, I am done, I learned that. You should do those questions by yourself. I forgotten to post some new question for you, but anyway, you have to do every question by yourself. Try your best. If you cannot sit with your clothes together, try to solve them. If you couldn't come to me to explain the solution. Don't wait until the next exam coming and then come to me within, I don't know, a couple of hours before the exam and then learn the material. No, this is the time, now, right now. Try to solve them as soon as possible. This is the math course, and math course, this is the nature of the math course. It needs time to be settled in your brain. Always math courses are like that. So when you learn math, you learn the basics of the math. But if you want to make sure that you learn the math properly, it needs time. And then after a couple of days or hours or something like that, if you get back to the same question, your vision, your interpretation, everything will be different from the first time that you have seen that one. Why? Because the perspective gives you is totally different. The application, the thinking behind that. So you can imagine if you want to learn everything maybe a couple of hours before the exam, how it can help you or cannot help you. So try to do the math. It's a kind of, this is my example to my son always. It's a kind of, because he is a fan of basketball, always working. Can you learn basketball one day before right? So you need practice, you need days and days practice, and then after that you can perform properly in a real competition, right? You cannot learn, you cannot completely be professional as a basketballist hours before the competition, right? So it needs practice. That needs practice in terms of muscle strength, in terms of techniques, in terms of everything, and the same for your brain, right? The same. We have muscles in our brain, not actual, not physical muscles, but if you later on, if you get familiar with neural network, and we have lots of videos about neural network and neurons in the brain, how they work, you learn that they have kind of muscles in them. Not muscles in the brain are some electrical signals that can connect the neurons together to each other, and then your brain would be much more stronger in terms of the connectivity and understanding and perspective and everything. And I think you are in the situation that you understand these types of things because you have the experience of learning a lot during the past 14 years and so on. So at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is that don't wait until the exam to learn the things for the exam. It needs time, right? Specifically for those courses like this one. It needs time, it needs practice. Only advice that I have for you is practice. In here, I try to make everything simple for you to be understandable, right? But behind that, we have lots of things. And when you ask questions in the class, I understand that you are following me, you are in the right direction. I really like your question in the class. It doesn't matter, we don't have any crazy question. We don't have any crazy question. Any question is welcome in the class. And you have, maybe we don't have time, maybe we have to wait until the end of the class, and then after that I can answer your question if it is very personal. But all of the questions are right. To me, all of the questions about the lectures and whatever you have question is right. So don't wait until, I don't know, you read and you learn, and then after that, if you don't learn, then come back to me. No, right away, if you don't understand, ask me question. Stop me and ask me question. Any question, concern? Yes.
Will there be a paper review like there was for the first one?
We have done the first one. You mean review of the first paper?
Yeah. Like where we get to see our test.
You can come and see if you want. Yeah, for the first one and for the second one, we will have the same opportunity, and you can come and see. Or maybe you can wait until the time and date for the second midterm, and then come and see both of them together. Save your time. Any other question? Okay. Now, today I'm trying to review one question. Let's see how much time we have, and then if we have, we can continue. Okay, so this is the question relevant to the material we have so far. The following information about x of t is given to us, and we want to see if we can find the x of t. So 5 properties of that x is given to us. We know them, and then we want to find x of t. Okay, x of t is a real signal. X of t is real signal. Remember that we are talking about Fourier series, and when we are talking about x of t as a real signal, then we have to interpret everything that we are learning in here from time domain to frequency domain or the other way. Okay, so x of t is real signal. Can you remember what was the property for x of t real signal?
A negative k equals a negative or k star.
Yeah, something relevant to a case.
Yeah.
What was that?
A negative k equals to k star.
Yes. A negative k equals to
A k star.
a star k over k. So this was the first one. Okay. So the second one, x of t is periodic with period of t equals to 4 and it has Fourier series coefficient ak. So the first one by itself maybe didn't give us this information, but with the second one we know that we have Fourier series and so on. If we have x of t as a real signal, we cannot say that property. Remember, this is the combination of 1 and 2, right? If it is periodic, and then we can say that. Okay, so we have t equals to 4. Let's write it. We have t equals to 4. Then omega naught is 2 pi over t, which is 4. 2 pi over 4 pi over 2. Okay. And AKs are 0 for any k greater than 0. So 3 AK 0 for k greater than 1. So if AK is 0 for k greater than 1 and following 1, what do I can say? Yes.
AK is 0 for the absolute value of k is greater
For
than?
any
Yeah.
a minus k as well, right? Why? Because a minus k is equal to a star k. A star k is 0. Because a is 0, then can say. So what I can say is in this way: a star k is 0 for k greater than 1, and if that's the case, then again from 1, a minus k is 0 for k greater than 1. So what does that mean? If I have AKs, non-zero AKs, non-zero AKs could be only -1, k minus 1, k0, and k1. So we have only 3 AKs, let's say. If it is. Okay, so far what I say is that we may have a -1, a 0, and a 1 non-zero so far. Okay, number 4. Number 4, it says a signal with Fourier coefficient Ck is odd. Okay, so Bk equals to e to the power of minus j pi over 2 times Ak is odd. Okay. What is e to the power of minus something? What is the meaning of that? When we have bk equals to something exponential term times ak. Can you remember at which situation we had this structure? Go back to the table. You have the table before. Go back to the table to see when we have exponential term times x of t.
Frequency shifting?
Frequency shifting or the other one?
You're adding to.
Time shifting.
Oh.
Right? If you see, if we have time shifting of t naught, then e to the power of minus j omega naught t naught is multiplied by ak. What does that mean? That means if we consider bk's for a new signal, that new signal is a shifted version of
Okay.
x of t. So x of t is transferred. Let's write it in this form. So we had x of t, that Fourier series for that was AK. Okay, and now we have AK times e to the power of minus j pi over 2. Right? So if we have this, what does that mean in this way?
X of t minus.
X of t minus something, t naught.
It's y.
And we are looking for that t naught maybe. But we are not looking for that t naught, but we want to see what is the property coming out of that. So x of t minus t naught is that one. Right? Okay. So, in other words, it seems that the amplitude of AKs and BKs are equal to each other because we have only shift in the time domain. In terms of the amplitude, everything is the same. Just shift of frequency, shift of the time domain. Okay. So, let's say if I have for this one the amplitude of AK, and for this one the amplitude of BK, then I can say that the amplitude of AK is equal to the amplitude of the BK. So amplitude of AK equals to the amplitude of BK. And I think it is clear there because when you have this, what is the magnitude of that? Magnitude of exponential term.
One.
What is the phase of that? In general, if you have a e to the power of j theta, what is the magnitude? Consider a is a real constant value, positive value. What is the magnitude?
A.
What is phase?
Theta.
Theta, right? The
Right.
same. So if you look at here, you have two parts, right? AK and that one. For AK, I don't know what is the magnitude for what's the phase. But for e to the power of j minus, minus j pi over 2, I know the magnitude is 1 and the phase is minus pi over 2. This is what I know so far. Okay. Okay, so now let's see what we can find out from there. It says that BKs are odd. BKs are odd. Yes.
So that means that it should be, they're all imaginary, which means the conjugate will just be negative of BK, right? Or something like that.
What does that mean?
Um,
BKs are odd.
it means they're all imaginary, right?
It is imaginary. All imaginary, pure imaginary, if they are odd. Right? Okay, so I'm talking about number 4, right? So I'm talking about this one. With the signal with the Fourier, the coefficients of BK equals to that and odd. BKs are odd and pure imaginary. And that means B naught is 0. So if B naught is 0, what does that mean? A naught is 0. Alright? If B naught is 0, then A naught is 0. Okay, so let's go to the next one, the last one, and then. the last one, it's saying that the amplitude, not the amplitude, the absolute value of signal in one period, 4 is
Huh.
1 period. We know from number 2 that t is equal to 4. So when we are integrating the signal in 4, during the 4, the question is, maybe the question is that, does it matter what is the start point and end point? No, because it's periodic. When we say in 4 seconds, let's say, that means it is in 1 period of the signal. So no matter what is that.
Would that be the DC gain of the signal?
Uh,
Or the-
DC
It's
gain.
over, sorry, it's one, it's like the average of the signal, right? In
No,
one period.
because it has power of 2.
Oh, okay, so,
It didn't have power of
Yeah.
2 maybe, but no. But go back to Parseval property in the table. If you go back to Parseval property in the table, you see what is saying. The correlation between A case and this equation. So let's say from Parseval's property, you know that 1/4, or let's say in general, 1/t equation in 1 period of the signal or of 2t is equal to, you say,
Convolution.
the summation,
What's in the
yes, a
K
k to the
squared.
power of 2 from k negative infinity to infinity. But most of the AKs are
Zero.
0. Only we have
1.
2 non-zero. Alright? So it is equal to absolute value of A minus K plus absolute value of AK, of course, to the power of 2. And it is equal to 1/2. Yes.
Wait, so quick question about the
Yeah.
part 4, the BKs are odd and pure imaginary, which means B naught is 0. Is the B naught equals to 0 because it's odd, or is it because it's pure imaginary?
It's pure imaginary.
It's because it's pure
Yeah.
imaginary?
Yeah.
What's the reason for that? Is it because AK is only real?
Because BKs are odd. Okay, let's talk about that after finishing
Yeah.
this one, because we are in the middle. Let's finish it and then. Okay, so about AKs, we have these, and about BKs. Can I write the same property for BKs?
Yeah.
Why?
Because AKs, the magnitudes are
The
same.
magnitude of AK is equal to the
Did you raise your
magnitude of
No.
BK. Right? Can you remember?
I didn't.
The magnitude of AK equals to the magnitude of BK. Right? We have this property. If that's the case, and then you can get this property, we see the same. And it is clear because we have just shifted version of x of t. Remember the x of t. X of t corresponding to AK and x of t minus t naught corresponding to BK. X of t minus t naught is shifted version of x of t. So AKs and BKs are equal in terms of magnitude. The only difference between them is
Sure.
shift in frequency. So AKs, absolute value of AKs and absolute value of BKs are equal. Okay. So in other words, I can say the same property for that. I can say or B minus K root of 2 plus B1 is 1 over 2. Okay? And we said that B, this B is pure imaginary. If it is pure imaginary, that means I can consider, for example, if this one is, I don't know, 1 over 2j, this one is minus 1 over 2j. Should be complex of each other, right? So, so what I can say is that for this one, I can say 2 times, let's say b minus 1 to the power of 2 is 1 over 2. Or the other way, 2 times b1 to the power of 2 equals to 1 over 2. Okay. So this one's saying that b minus 1 to the power of 2 is 1 over 4.
1 over 2.
And b minus 1 is equal to
Oh, I squared it.
1 over 2. Is it 1 over 2? Okay? So if b1 minus 1 is 1 over 2 and it is pure imaginary, it is pure imaginary. What I can say is that b minus 1 is b minus 1 is, you say,
Oh, it's absolute.
Oh, should it be a negative?
Negative 1 over 2 j.
a minus. Question, b minus 1, I said b minus 1, 1 over 2j, minus 1 over 2j. Is it possible to have b minus 1 plus 1 over 2j? Yes. If this one is plus, the other one is minus. If this one is minus, the other one is plus. Doesn't matter. Alright, so both of them. Okay. So minus 1 over 2j.
We just times by j.
Wait, why is it denominator?
Okay, so again from
It's a
4,
divided then.
I don't know.
from 4,
What is
bk is e to the power of minus j pi over 2 times k. Okay, times ak.
what's the magnitude?
And ak is gonna be bk times e to the power of j k pi over 2. And now I can say a minus 1 is b minus 1 and e to the power of j k pi over 2. Okay, and then a minus 1 is, there are different ways of doing that, but anyway, 1 over 2j minus 1 over 2j, and instead of exponential part, I can write cosine and sine combination of them. So cosine of k pi over 2 and plus, you say,
J sine.
j sine of k pi over 2. Yes.
How do we know when we're making our term for b of minus k that we have our negative j in the denominator and not in the numerator?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, so we can just put it.
You can put, yeah. Doesn't matter.
So it can be in the numerator?
As long as it's negative.
Okay, and now sine of k pi over 2. What is the value of sine of k pi? Let's start with cosine. Cosine of k pi over 2. K is 1, 2, 3, and so on. If it is 1, if it is 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, what is the value?
0.
Sorry, I think I don't need,
Pi too, right? So it's like half.
I don't need
goes
K.
into- It starts at one, goes to zero at 90 degrees.
Yeah, sorry.
sorry. Crazy.
Let's just talk about sine.
I don't need K. Why I put K here, I don't know. You see in here, it's K, but because I'm talking about minus one, then K is minus one. Okay. So, don't put K here, pi over two. Okay? And I'm talking about, the negative one, so if I'm talking about negative one, I have to put minus here. And, cosine of minus pi over two. And sine of minus pi over two. Negative. Okay. So I have minus one over two j times minus j. Okay. And at the end of the day, I have 1 over 2.
Just like take out the after.
Yes.
Does that say proportional?
Multiply.
That's just an decimal.
Which one you're talking?
Between the negative 1/2 j, that's times negative j?
To your
This
right.
one?
To your right.
On the right,
On the right?
yeah, that's just times, right? The
It's
operator?
this one? Yes. Yeah. It's small.
Yeah, but then have to probably get some out, so it's gonna work. So I have no clue. Can you just not include negative? Why is it negative?
And the same for a.
You should raise your
one
hand and
can be
ask.
done. And you are
What's
done.
that?
So after that, you can say x of t equals to the summation of k from negative infinity.
Nick, shut up and ask. Raise your hand.
E to the power of j k pi over 2 and t. And that means just a minus 1 times e to the power of j pi over 2 and plus a 1 times e to the power of j pi here minus 1 j pi. Okay, and once we have a minus 1 and a 1, then we can calculate. Yeah.
Shouldn't we have, oh, I guess, so I was gonna say, shouldn't we have a one because we have a minus one and they're,
Yeah. The same, yeah. The same approach we use for obtaining b minus 1, we can
that's
use.
what I was.
Yeah.
This might be a dumb question, but why do we have the negative for the b negative one? Cause like, so b of negative 1 equals negative 1 over 2j, right? Wouldn't it still work if it was just 1 over 2j? Cause it's absolute value?
It doesn't matter, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It doesn't matter if you put it in the, just I put it in there, you can put it in. You're talking about this one, right? You can put it in here, and then the only thing that at the end of the day would be changed is the sign of 1 over 2. So the sign of 1 over 2 is gonna be minus 1 over 2.
Oh, does it have to be minus?
It could be both of them.
It could be positive.
Because at the end of the day, one of them is positive, one of them is negative, right?
Because it's absolute value, right?
It's absolute value. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Doesn't matter which one.
This must be the same question, but how do you know that b minus 1 was
Doesn't matter.
1 over 2j?
What doesn't matter? You can put it 1 over 2 times j.
Because of like
What would be the difference at the end of the day? Instead of 1 over 2, you will have minus 1 over 2. And
the values of b1 and b minus 1?
It's just absolute value. Piecewise.
okay.
Like it's answer shit. Did you ever explain?
Any question about that? Okay. Let's just a very brief review of of the Fourier series for discrete time periodic signal. So far we talked about a continuous time periodic signal. We can have the same concept, the same approach and algorithm for discrete time discrete time signal. If you can remember, the only point that we have for discrete time signal was that if you have periodic signal in discrete time, we have limited number of harmonics. For continuous time signal, we had indefinite number of harmonics. But for discrete time signal, we have limited. What does that mean? That means if we want to, let's say, rebuild or make a Fourier series for the signal, we don't need to combine unlimited number of harmonics to make the signal. We have only to combine limited number of the harmonics in the signal. And K in here is gonna be from 0 to n minus 1, whatever it is for the harmonic number of the signal. Okay, so this is the only point that we have to consider. You can review it later, and you see in here the topic that I'm talking about. So the K is limited to n values, n numbers. Yes.
So we know, well, you just said that the discrete time signals have like finite harmonics, but like the continuous one, like the one we just did, has infinite harmonics. But then we only considered the Fourier expansion of like A -1, A0, and A1. So did the other ones?
For the previous one,
Yeah.
for the previous one of the condition was K. For K greater than 1, the values are 0. I think number 2 or 3,
Okay.
right? In
Yeah.
there we have
That property. Yes. Question? Okay, so you see the same, very similar to the previous one, a structure for a Fourier series. AK times phi k is the harmonic number, k of course, and it is again exponential terms. So exponential terms, what we call them? Eigenfunctions, right? Eigenfunctions, the same property, and you know in here what is omega naught. Omega naught is 2 pi over n. So the same, and I didn't go through the proof and everything for discrete time, similar to continuous time. And at the end of the day, we have these two formula. If you compare these two formula with the continuous time, the only difference again you see is that k in here is limited to n. And again, the question might be, what is the start point for the k value, end point for the k value? Doesn't matter. You have to consider one period of the signal because it is repeated. Right? Whatever is there, it's gonna be repeated. Right? Because the signal is periodic. Okay? And yeah, you can find AKs in there. Okay? And this is some example for that, for example. So x of n equals to sine of omega naught n. If omega naught is 2 pi over 5, then we can find the period of the signal. Right? Omega naught is 2 pi over 5, and then n is 5. How? N is 2 pi over omega naught, and you can find n. And then the n value is 5. What does that mean? That means ANs are in one period of the signal and then repetition of them. Okay? So you see ANs in there. Right? So only value we have is at -1 and 1, and in one period of the signal. It doesn't matter at which point, from which point to which point you are considering. You can consider from, this is just for uniformity, -3, -2, -1, and 2. end of the values here. So this is just one period of the signal. You can consider from 2 to 2. You can consider from, did you get what I'm saying? Right? So you can, let's okay, so a start point and that's not K. K could be this one, that means -3. If K is -3, and we have to consider one period of the signal, that means -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 5 of them. Or if K start from -2, it's gonna be -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. It doesn't matter. So you have to consider one period of the signal, and you see we have two values only. The two values are from here to here, for example. Two values are there. Okay? So AKs are periodic, and then you have those values. Okay? Another signal. Try to solve this one with yourself. X of n equals to sine of 6 pi over 5 times n. So what we have to do first? Obtain the period of the signal. Right? After finding the period of the signal, then you see what would be the values for that. Okay? So try to solve this question, review these two from the beginning, I would suggest, because I didn't go through the district time that much, but it is good practice for yourself. If you would have any question, then you can ask question next. Any question? Okay. Thank you.